You know, one thing that I could think as a person is that since I was christened, so forsaken and left for dead in my car, that maybe everybody's damned. Because, well, petitions exist and televisions. And sometimes I do that, just like you. Because I was christened in my car, and that's where Angel Gabriel came to me. And television exists, and petitions, and law and order. Laws exist, prisons exist, all these things exist. And then I thought that, and I said, well, you're not in direct control. And I tried to make it okay. That petitions exist, and televisions exist, and law exists, and prisons exist. And I tried to make it okay, just like you. But I was christened in my car, and I was left for dead. So maybe everybody is damned, is what I would say, to like a child. Because, well, does a child have a voice? You know, like when they're playing with their fucking new presents on Christmas time. Maybe it's Christmas time, and they're playing with their new, toys under the Christmas tree. Could that child have signed a petition? Or could they have searched how to protect my human life, Because of course they could, Yeah. And maybe you're all damned because I'm this angel man now. And I say that whenever. Because I was left for dead. And by having a quiet voice, you might have actually been in direct relation as a Christian person that forgot to yell about your neighbor getting hurt so badly. Well, when you look at Christianity, I am your neighbor. So if I'm in trouble, maybe you're not going to be in good standing with Jesus Christ, the Messiah. Since, well, when Jesus was here on earth, people turned on Jesus, actually. And I look around, and all I see are people turning on me. And all of a sudden, I get christened in my head. And that's what I know, is that everybody I ever knew could have done more, and in some ways, turned on me. Because I'm a human in need of medical aid. Medical aid. Because there's a witch stuck inside of my head through a mind-reading device. So, a bunch of people did turn on me in my life, and I did get christened in my car. And I wanted to let you know that I know that what you do to the least amongst us, you do to him. And that's the man himself, Jesus Christ of Nazareth. And we live in a world where we're such loners that we don't have neighbors. But in the Christian faith, the religion, Christianity, a person in this realm, if they're in the same realm, so we're on Earth in the universe, and that's like our realm. So if there's a person that's out there, they're your neighbor because they're a real soul. So since I was left for dead and turned on by so many souls, maybe they're all damned. And I'm really christened in my brain. And I know I am christened in my brain. And I was sleeping in my car. And I was left for dead. because I did cry out for so much medical aid and got thrown around by a hospital acting like there wasn't a chip in my head. So they're probably all damned. Or excuse me, maybe the people in charge are just damned. So, and then I go through all that again, and I say to myself, well, could they have done anything? And I say, well, yeah, because televisions exist and petitions exist, so maybe they're damned too. And that's just some stuff that I say to myself sometimes. And then I say to myself, well, they're not in control of this. And maybe there's no way they could be in control of this, but however, televisions exist and petitions exist, and I'm a saint, and I was left for dead, and I'm christened in my brain. But I'm still the Strawberry News. Well, because I'm a songwriter. I'm an artist in my soul. And when my soul got celebrated as an artist, I knew that I was an artist, and that I would always be an artist. Sort of like when you hear about people, what do they call it? Hotboxing, like in the desert, and they have like a spiritual journey or something like that. I was in my car, and it was like a little, I got so much sun in my car, my soul like came out. And everybody just saw in my artist soul that was left for dead, who became christened in his brain. Because what you do to the least amongst us, you do to him. And he is the man, Jesus Christ. And he bragged about me from the sky. Because that's the verse in the Bible that I think about nonchalant. That's why I'm so nonchalant about telling Bill Gates he's damned, or Johnny that he's damned, or Judy that she's damned. Because, unfortunately, what you do to the least amongst us, you do to him, Jesus Christ. And I can't believe you still have power over me as well. So my human life could be taken from me still. I know that too. And maybe everybody here is damned. But maybe they're not too. Since I had such rewards and gifts from heaven, you know. So like my childhood pastor, Father John, you know, he gets to help people out in a church, right? In a mass. And he got to help me out in my life. And well, Father John is a priest, but however, he's just like somebody else. Like somebody that could have written a petition. And I say to myself, are they damned? And I shrug. Because I got christened in my brain. And I was left for dead, and they couldn't do anything. And I think about how they're my neighbors, and I'm still left for dead now. But then I say to myself, well, they don't have direct control over everything. So how puny and worthless they must feel as a Christian to not be able to help me. So maybe at least Father John Garrett feels, you know, puny and worthless to not be able to help me as a Christian. And he should. And he very much should have gained weight. And I looked at his pictures and he like gained weight and he's like fat and shit. I said, okay, well, he was always my real priest, right? I see some people and they're getting to like big shape and stuff like that. I wonder, well, what do humans like feed on human life or what? You know. When I get witched now, sometimes I can muster up enough energy and I can take the pain right off of my skull, right off of my brain. like an angel, like an angel form of myself. You know? So, should you feel pathetic and worthless? Yeah. Because you didn't get to save my life as a Christian. And maybe if you felt pathetic and worthless, you might have a better standing inside of your soul, right? Or, when you saw me become a saint in front of you in America, you say, whoa, that's such a journey for me in life. And then you get to be that. And you can still feel pathetic and worthless because you didn't get to help me. And I wanted you to as well. Because that's what a true Christian might feel, is pathetic and worthless. Because they can't help a saint who's going to get killed by a witch, maybe. And I go through this all the time. And like how people interact with me, like, is her soul going to be okay? Because she chose to interact with me like that. Like, Lord, all the time. Like, is she damned because of this conversation right now? Because this is so crazy. All day. So, maybe you at least got to feel pathetic and worthless for yourself. And you got to pray and everything like that. But, all the time, I say to myself, well, petitions exist, televisions exist. Where are all the Christians? I say it now. Where are all the Christians? Because I don't fucking see them. They're in the mass. They're in the church. They're telling me, well, you're not in the church? Well, I'm not in the church. Well, what am I going to be able to do now since I'm not in the church? What do you mean I'm not in the church? I'm a saint. Saints are in the church. Yeah, saints are in the church. So where are all the Christians?